My name is Gemma Haley. I am a criminologist and I would like to talk about healing our child selves. Okay, so how does this take place? Usually, what happens is you remember something from a childhood, and what it does is it brings you back into that childhood place, and it can be quite traumatizing to remember these things. And it can even lead into a psychosis, but it generally would be a PTSD. But what happens is when you've finished that process, you find your child self again. You find it, okay? What was taken, what was lost, and it's still within you. And I know a lot of people this has happened to because I can see their child self in them. There are some people, though, that don't have their child self within them. And due to them forgetting who they are, usually what can happen is they don't remember. They see the world very differently. Some things are closed off from them, their mind. So, what happens when we do remember it? Well, our child self comes back to us and we play. We dance in the leaves. We jump in puddles. We play with the children in a good way, positively. And it makes you find that aspect of your child self that was missing. So think twice when you see a woman playing with her children, kicking leaves, playing on monkey bars. Because she found something that she lost. Does it make her weak? No. It makes her stronger than most. Because of all the things that she's been through, she still learned through them as well. That can happen. And what is that? It's an aspect of innocence, love. That's our nines. Theory of the crown. When you find your child self and you know who you are, there's a peace because it goes back onto itself. Because you know your truth. It's healing more than anything else in the end. Should that be a consequence to this? Should there be a consequence? No. Because we understand now how we find it. And it's a Freemason concept. The Freemason concept of rising above, opening a box and then seeing it. Your own mind, in your own mind, not in what somebody else has fabricated and created. Their ladder, their box that they've created, their bullshit. Okay? It's yours, in your mind. Okay? And this is an occultist perspective and it's a Freemason one. I'm not into all that stuff where I agree with bad stuff. But when I look at a Freemason symbol and I see the box, and there's a ladder, the ladder's to climb the ladder to understand, and then the box is to open it. But that box is the trauma inside of you, in your brain, not the trauma that someone's recreating in this world. Because that's just bullshit. That's just gross misconduct, fraud, and everything else that comes with it. Okay? So what it is that I guess it happens to people and sometimes it doesn't happen to people. But when you understand a Freemason, you don't create a space for it to take place. It already has, because everyone's got trauma. So as a Freemason understanding the occult topic, it's a box and it's opened. Because once you ride up to that box, you remember something, and this can lead to PTSD and psychosis. And usually it's because you're either in a vulnerable situation or there's a trigger in your environment. Every Freemason knows this. It's so obvious. I don't know if you can see it, but when you understand this and you open the box, you find your childhood self. And this is where you're more likely to be able to become a more healed, wholesome person. Because you've remembered the trauma that lay behind you, that stopped you from bringing your innocence out, your true self out. Okay? And it's not about creating it on purpose. Okay? It's just about understanding that some things have taken place, and it's time to remember that so we can rise. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Because we can then truly appreciate life. Yeah, there's being serious and all that. We need balance. And when you find your true self, your inner child, I've seen people now, I can see their inner child, I can see they've healed themselves. And some people just haven't, and that's okay. Sometimes it takes people a little bit longer, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. But another thing I'd also like to say is that you can steal people's innocence. So people that don't have found, unfortunately they haven't found their innocence within them, that you might find that they might steal others. Now, this isn't good. This isn't a trustworthy person. So just remember, your trauma lies within you. That box, that Freemason concept, is in you. And if you have struggled with your finding your innocence, something's missing, something's not quite right. It's because there's trauma. And there's nothing wrong with that, and you shouldn't be ashamed of yourselves. Okay? It's not your fault. So this is how I know. This is why we give to charity as a Freemason. You would give to charity, wouldn't you? If you had a lot of money, you'd give to charity. That's one of the things that they do, isn't it? It's a good thing. And mainly just for children. But for nothing in return. Right? Nothing in return. That's why it's called a charity. Remember that, Freemasons. We aid in the support of children. That's what you're supposed to do. Because we know what it's like to be traumatized, to have to go through that box moment. So we give grievance where grievance is due. For the children. Not because we're taking from them, but because we know what it's like. That's a true Freemason. Not for gain or power, but because there's an aspect of innocence. And to be honest, everyone should find their true self. Everyone deserves to find their own innocence. And make the world a better place, of course. And as a mother archetypal energy, whether you like me or not, I am who I am. and I share my truth. Mummy of two, criminologist. Take care. I'm Gemma Haley.